Do you mind my knee being in your thigh?
Nope.
Okay. Hi guys, my name is Carissa. This is the FatGirlFlow channel, and today we are going to be answering all of your most pressing questions about life, love, relationships, possibly my divorce, and Jay.
And me.
Jay has joined us because you guys always have lots of questions about me and Jay, so I figured we haven't done one of these since I introduced Jay like forever ago. So
Has it been that long?
Yeah, it's been like 2 years.
Oh shit.
So I guess now's a good time to talk about things.
Yay!
It's been 2 years. We've had some time to heal. We've had some time to grow. Now we can answer.
Some of us more than others. Do it.
We'll do that. Okay. Yeah. We're going to answer questions that are very lighthearted and then also some more slightly deep and emotional stuff.
We are?
So, well, yeah.
Sure, let's get real.
Let's just go ahead and start this with something real fun. Gabe Buckner, co-owner of
Fat Trunk.
Fat Trunk Jeans, asked, who farted first?
That is such a good question.
I'll let you tell the story.
Oh god, okay. Carissa came to...
First of all, let's start with this. I do not fart in front of people that I am dating. It's like I'm very personal about it. I don't like to fart. I don't want to talk about my pooping schedule. I don't want to do any of that with someone I am dating. Now, marriage and like 2 years down the road, much different, but a starting relationship is not where I am comfortable farting.
Which I feel like is just like misogyny. I feel like it's like internalized whatever, because there's this whole thing where dudes are like, girls don't poop. You know, like, I don't want to hear about that. And I feel like you've internalized that when it's like every person farts and poops.
Not me.
Not Coco.
Do my farts stink?
They don't stink, and it's very upsetting. So
that is definitely internalized misogyny. I think I'm better than everyone because my farts don't stink.
Anyway, so do you want me to tell the story?
Yes, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay, I'll tell it. So Carissa came to visit me in Massachusetts because we were long distance for like a very hot minute, and I had my own apartment, and I was whatever. This doesn't matter. And she was visiting, and
you have the longest hair on your cheek right now.
Oh my god, get it.
Oh my god, every time. No, hold still.
Oh my god, it is wrong. You're like grabbing it inches off my face. Ow. Ow.
Got it. Wow. That thing was long.
I get those.
Sorry.
Oh.
Continue.
Do you really want me to tell the story?
Yeah, no, I want you to tell it.
Okay,
I'm so interested.
She's visiting. We're maybe like a month into dating. Like officially being like, hey, we want to do this thing. No one's farted in front of anyone yet. And I'm gonna get up to like go get a snack or water or whatever, and she's like, okay, get out of the room, the bedroom, because I've got to fart. And we laughed about it, and I got up and I go to leave.
And I'm like, make sure you close the door because like I really gotta fart, and also don't come back for a minute just in case. Make sure the fan's on, like the whole thing.
So I'm like, okay, bye, and I go and I close the door, and then I decide to be funny, and I open it back up, and I'm like, bleh! And she was mid-fart. Like, loud, extensive fart.
Like, I think I hid under the covers, and I was so embarrassed, but you laughed, and you thought it was really funny.
It was, and it didn't smell, so there was literally no issue.
I have princess toots.
I don't.
I fart like a champ now.
You do.
I be farting.
Free farting. Free range farting.
What are each of your love languages?
Ooh, that's a good question.
You know mine?
Yours is acts of service.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yours is, is it affection or validation?
Oh.
It is words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. I would definitely say physical touch and words of affirmation are yours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason's Scorpio, so like take from that what you will. Do our love language align with each other at all?
No.
No.
They don't align. It takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
I think your act of service thing, your love language is like the hardest thing for me to do.
And yours is the hardest thing for me to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am not a like touchy-feely, for lack of a better word, a little bit cold. And like, I'm not, intimacy is like not my priority. I like things to be like practical, and I want to make sure we have time for it, and like, let's make sure our bills are paid, and that is what's sexy to me. And like definitely our love languages don't align at all, but I think that sometimes that kind of makes it
more meaningful.
Yeah.
When we do it, because it doesn't come naturally to me. It means I have to like work harder to make sure she knows that I appreciate and love her and that I'm showing it.
Yeah.
And I think that happens a lot. I think it's much more common for your love languages to not align and for them to be difficult for partners, but people don't talk about it.
Yeah, I think so too.
And they can't identify it.
Yeah. I think I definitely feel like our love languages don't align in any way, shape, or form, and we are still very aware of it and don't consider it like fair or unfair, or we work really hard not to, and we try to just like deal with it.
Yeah, and like make it a priority to like do what we can to show our love to each other, because like that's what we're committed to.
Yeah, and move.
Okay.
What does your dream family situation look like? I think that we come from two very different families. My family is, I have siblings. Jay has no siblings. I have nieces and nephews. Jay has no siblings, so they don't have nieces and nephews.
Right.
I have a huge family. I have, on my dad's side, I have 58 first cousins. My dad has 10 brothers and sisters, so I have 20 aunts and uncles on my dad's side. On my mom's side, I think I have 7.
And I have just my mom and my stepdad and me.
Right.
That's the family, and we don't have like a lot of extended family. We have some extended family, but they live far away, so there's not a lot of not a lot of barbecues and whatnot.
My family, like, we see each other every week, sometimes several times a week.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen my niece and nephew in like 3 or 4 days, and I'm already talking about how I miss them. I have dates with them. I want to spend a lot of time with my extended family and my family.
Mm-hmm. So our upbringing has been very different, and our family dynamics have been very different. But I think we both agree that we want kids. It's about how we're going to acquire them that is going to take some finagling. For me, I think I've always known that I wanted kids. I've always known that I didn't want to birth them, and that's how it happens, right? Fostering, adopting, having my partner carry. But I mean, my idea of family is just to have a couple of kids and live happily ever after.
I very much want our family to involve at least one child. I think that I have grown up thinking that if you're an only child, you're gonna end up really messed up. But
you're not wrong.
But I see Jay and Jay's closeness with their family and the smallness of their family, and there is something that I think is really valuable and nice about that. And so I think from being with Jay, I've kind of changed my image of what a family might look like, and it includes us being kind of our own small family, but also having Jay's family and my family and being very close and very intimate with them and our friends too.
Yeah.
I really, really, really value partnerships and friendships and relationships outside of our own. And I think that platonic love is very, very important. So having,
especially in raising kids.
Yes.
I feel that way too. I want friends to be so involved that they're considered aunts and uncles or whatever.
Yeah. When my family talks about my niece and nephew, those are our children to raise. That is our family's children to raise. And it's it makes me a little weepy, and it's very magical, and I always want, if we're gonna have kids, I want them to feel that loved too.
You're so cute. So yeah, kids for sure. I think when I see my friends with one baby and they're just allowed to just obsess over a baby and give all their love to that one, I'm yeah, one could be cool. But growing up just as an only child, I definitely wish I had a sibling. So 2 for me is the sweet spot.
Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I like talking about babies. I know, if you guys don't know, I'm 34 and Jay is not.
I'm 27.
So talking about kiddos is I think it hits a little harder for me. I think that I've had a little bit more time with people in my life who have had children, and I see like the meaning in raising kids and those kinds of things like very deeply.
Yeah. So. Kids, community, partnership, love.
This will take us into talking about a couple more serious topics.
Ooh, okay.
Do you and Jay share a bed? I know you and Nat did not, so I'm just wondering. Jay and I do share a bed. I cannot imagine Jay and I not sharing a bed.
There have been nights when we have not shared a bed.
Not whole nights, only when you're sick. Never from arguing.
We've never got rid of
one time. Yeah, one time I did sleep in the other room.
Yeah.
That's right. We do share a bed. We have always shared a bed.
I am the little spoon.
Always.
I am little spoon.
Several people have and continue to ask me to elaborate more on my divorce. And it's obviously something that I have not been and probably will never be okay fully like talking about.
It's a big thing.
It is a big thing. Yeah, it's a big thing. And I think that in our culture and stuff, it's very easy to kind of normalize divorce, and there's not anything normal about it at all. It is gut-wrenchingly painful. Still, like, it's miserable and it's a hard thing to talk about, and it doesn't really like get easier to talk about ever. Nat and I got divorced for what I think were really good reasons. I think that there weren't really reasons. I think we just realized like we weren't the people that were supposed to be together.
In that way.
Right. It makes it harder because Nat was and always will be like my family. I get very emotional about this because it is something that like I think that when you get divorced you experience an amount of like shame and guilt and questioning of yourself. Like, you guys, I've been in therapy for a long time and I have questioned a lot of my behaviors and nothing comes close to this. Like, it just fucking wrecks you.
When you think about it, like, you don't get to the point of being married to someone unless they are a huge part of your life and become so much of a unit.
Yeah.
And especially if you're queer and you understand like queer family, it just means so much more to have connections with people that truly understand a piece of you that maybe the rest of your family does not. And so I think like that has been a huge thing for Carissa and Nat to have together. And like they love the fuck out of each other. Like, yeah. They love the shit out of each other and they are good for each other, just they found that it wasn't in that way that they thought.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to like.
And it's especially hard because like it's not like just some boyfriend or girlfriend. Nat's relationship with my family was really important. Mm-hmm. And unraveling that is really hard. And it's not just like, oh, these people broke up and it's whatever. The reason I don't talk about it is because it's this hard every time. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that, like, I think it will get easier, but I think there is a certain part of me that, you know, when you guys asked you and Jay share a bed, this relationship has made me see that I was not who I should have been for Nat. And it's hard to look back at something and know that you like built that trust and love with someone and that in any way you were not your best self. Certain people make us our best selves, you know, and there's nothing you can do about that. That's not, I don't think it was my fault. I don't think it was Nat's fault. I don't think it was anyone's fault. But it's hard as a human being to not internalize that and to not feel some amount of shame and guilt around that all the time. So there's that.
We knew that this was gonna be hard to talk about. And also, it's okay that you have feelings and big feelings about this person. You know? Like, it's okay to cry when you talk about her.
Yeah. I love Nat. Like, it's especially hard now because when you are going through a breakup, it's like, you just want it to be over, you know? It doesn't matter how much you love that person. It doesn't matter how much you care. You get to a point where you just want it to be done.
You want space.
And, yes. Yeah. And you want, like, you just want it to be over. And some of you know, but Nat lived with us. I mean, I moved Jay into me and Nat's home. And that whole thing was not my best. It was not my best decision. Let's be honest. It was not my best decision.
There's definitely smarter ways we all could have gone about that.
Right. Yeah. And I think that it's a lot to like look back on and just constantly be like, always doing my best. I know I was doing my best then. I know I was doing what I needed to do. But like looking back at things, it's just constant questioning of yourself.
Because no matter what, you're an adult, but like you don't always get it right. You're not always perfect.
Right.
And you're not always strategic and planned and smart about everything. Like,
right.
It just, things happen the way that they do.
Yeah. And I think that Nat would say the same things.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure she feels the same way in many respects, and I still love her very, very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And neither of us did anything like wrong to each other. I think that makes it even harder. Do you guys argue over dinner plans? That shit gets on my nerves. I do very much identify with those memes that say, like, nobody told me that marriage and relationships was just going to be talking about what you want to eat for dinner until one of you dies.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, that really is like, I cannot believe how much we have to talk about what the fuck we want for dinner.
Yeah.
But we're pretty good at it, I think.
I think we're getting better at it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, we really, at first, we did a lot of, like, ordering because, like, I didn't know how to cook. I still don't really know how to cook, and I also didn't want to cook for somebody else. Like, I got really used to like depression meals and like poverty. very, very familiar. And just like eating whatever trash was easy and available. And like that's not the life I'm trying to live. As like an adult, especially in a relationship, like I do like being kind of like a caretaker, and when I make a meal for us, I feel really good about it. So we're getting better at that. But like just like anybody else going through, maybe not anybody else, but just like a lot of people, it takes some like figuring out who likes what, who likes to eat when, and like who does leftovers and who doesn't. And we all have like idiosyncrasies.
Especially if you intuitively eat like I do. If you are recovering from an eating disorder or anything, a lot of that recovery process looks very unique to each person.
Right.
And so involving another person in it is just fucking hard. Mm-hmm. It's weird and it's hard. And one of the things that I really did for like through my recovery was just figure out what I really liked to eat, find it and eat it. And that doesn't work when you're paying for two people.
Right. It's a very privileged thing to be able to do. And also it's part of like eating disorder recovery for you. So it's like complicated and not just like, woo, fun. Like it's, yeah.
Sorry, we had to change cameras because the other one died. But as I was saying, I think that just like if you have any eating disorder or anything like that, that figuring out how to eat with another person is interesting. So one of the things that we've really found works for us is finding meals that we both really love and feel like we can eat several times. One of the things we love to make is like barbacoa and cilantro lime rice. Mm-hmm. And Jay makes himself tacos, and I eat like a little barbacoa bowl. And finding things like that we can make at least once or twice a week, so that they're kind of just our go-to meals, so that we don't have to incessantly talk about dinner until we die, has been very helpful.
And also finding meals that we both like, that we can eat differently, and that are easy enough for me to make. And we've started to have a lot of fun with like Carissa helping with like telling me the recipe while I cook, and us just like hanging out together, and I like that a lot.
Yeah.
We're having fun with it.
We have fun with it, you know? We just have fun with it. Nothing too deep, but what's one thing you would change about the other person? I'll say the thing that we have recently talked about.
Okay.
Which is...
I don't remember.
It's okay.
Oh, okay.
You'll remember when I say it.
Right.
Jay sometimes is so timid about things that they like physically and emotionally get themselves in kind of a pickle. Mm-hmm. So like the other day, I asked them to toss me my phone, and Jay played softball, I played softball. We can both throw and catch very, very well. We're good at it. But Jay's like, I don't want to throw it too hard, I don't want to da-da-da-da-da, and so they end up just going, ugh. And instead of landing right where they absolutely could have thrown it, it like hits my toe and hurts like hell. And that's because they're timid about things. They sometimes just like don't go all in.
I feel like that is a very minuscule example, but yes, things like that happen often and even on bigger scales.
Yeah, emotionally sometimes too.
Yeah.
And I think that I think Jay has just been taught to like hold back and not be a burden. And like, I want that. I want that emotion. I want that timidness and that like anxiety around presenting themselves as a whole person. I feel like without that, we would be able to communicate better. We would like, it's a whole thing. But really the most annoying part, are the little things.
When
like
I throw the
getting
phone.
hit in my toe because she's like,
basically my brain is like, I would rather throw this at the ground than risk it hitting you in the face.
and I would rather get hit in the face. Like, please just go all in. Yeah. Please don't say you don't have something about me, because I know you fucking do.
I know, I just
and you'll look like
right
such an angel if you're like, there's nothing.
There's nothing I would change about you.
That's just a fucking lie.
Let's see. Yeah, I would probably say being like kind of like a tornado when you like come in the house and just like throw your shit everywhere. And I mean, with Carissa's job, she also gets a lot of packages all the time, and I mean, it's a lot of like waste and environmental destruction, whatever. But inconveniently for me, it's like she just like opens the boxes and like throws all the shit everywhere, and then she's like, well, I got my thing, and then all that shit.
That is exact. I'm like, ooh, ooh.
And then all that shit is just like literally like, it looks comedic. It looks like she's trying to be funny, but she's not, and it will stay there until somebody makes a point to be like, hey, pick up your shit, or picks it up themselves.
Who picks it up?
I do, I pick it up. But I mean, we have compromised a little bit with that, and I say, hey, if you just want to put your stuff up on another level so that it's easier for me to pick up, that's helpful. So I feel like we're always problem solving.
That's such a social work thing. I feel like we're always problem solving.
We are.
A+ communication. We're doing great.
But I really feel that way.
I know, we are.
Okay, cool.
Someone asked, I'm going through getting a Cpap. Does it affect your relationship and intimacy? No.
Not at all.
I have a Cpap, Jay doesn't. It's not a thing.
It's really not a thing. Like, you don't turn over to put it on your face until you're like actually ready to go to sleep. So if you're the kind of couple that like goes to hang out in bed for a bit and like maybe is cuddling and then like wants to get sexy, you're not like turning over to put your CPAP on until you're like, okay, I'm falling asleep, let's do this.
Also, there's something like, we're all grown-ass adults.
Right. I can look at her with her CPAP on and still think she's sexy.
Right. We're fucking grown, you know? Like, me having a CPAP machine on doesn't make Jay think like, oh, it doesn't affect us. I think that we go to bed and we like to talk before we fall asleep, even though we're together all evening. We're still like, ooh, go to bed and snuggle and talk. So we like go to bed, and Jay likes to roll onto this side, like looking away from me. Mm-hmm. And so when they're like ready to roll over and go to sleep, I put my CPAP machine on. It's just not a thing.
I just think like, talk to your partner. Do you feel comfortable still hitting on each other with the thing on? Then do it. Like, and also don't be immature about it.
Yeah, and also like, it is really nice to see your partner go from like struggling to breathe to sleeping peacefully. Last night our power went out, and it was out from I think like 11 to 8:30 this morning. Yeah. And I mean, it was like I slept like shit. It was miserable. And I was like gasping all night, and that's not a fun thing to sleep next to. So CPAP always wins.
Yeah, I feel like the priority is for your partner to be like happy and taken care of, and then sexy times you can work around it.
Yeah. Ever had a fight that resulted in the silent treatment? Well, we try. I feel like we both try so hard, and we're like, I'm not gonna talk to them, and then I'm like texting them from the other room.
We go to different rooms, or someone leaves, and goes for a drive or goes to her parents' house or something, and like we end up texting, we end up talking through. A lot of times when we argue, we end up like, we just come together, sit in front of each other on the couch, and like have it out, because we're intentionally trying to hear each other and communicate our needs and what we're feeling and going through and get through it together. We're not trying to put it off and make it interrupt our lives forever.
I do think that's like a real blessing in not having children.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, like we do like take advantage of that, because I do think that like once you have kids, you really can't have that like, okay, we're arguing, we're gonna sit in front of each other and look at each other. Like, I think when you have kids, you're like, fuck, I gotta take care of these kids, you know? And so I do think it's like, it's important to me to like sit with Jay, and we find that we get in a lot of like bickering kind of arguments in the car, and I genuinely believe that is because we are not looking at each other. We've
discussed how it's like we have to be intentional and remind ourselves that this is like our partner. Like, this
Yeah.
is somebody I love the shit out of, and so, like, I want to be looking at her and knowing that what I'm saying is what I really want to be saying to that person.
Yeah, and giving them, like, the most respect that you could possibly give. I think that it's very easy when you have a partner, and my girlfriends Ashley and Allie and I have talked about this so much, because we used to really get together and, like, kind of shit talk our partners, right? And, like, kind of just, like, they're so dumb, and
They're
you know,
pissing me off for this week.
right? And we realized that, like, we would never speak about each other that way, and we would never speak to each other that way, and somehow it's, like, normalized, especially in groups of women, to just, like, shit talk your partner, and it sucks. It's not fun, and it's just, it sucks. And so from that, I really, like, have started to be very intentional, and, like, if I wouldn't speak to my best friends how I'm talking to Jay, I don't want to be saying it, you know? Like, I just think that our partners deserve our absolute best.
And that's something that's new to me too. I feel like our culture definitely teaches us that, like, you should be able to let your hair down and be your normal self around your partner. And I've, like, interpreted that as I don't have to be on with my partner. I don't have to be perfect with my partner. And there's a difference there between, like, treating them like shit because you're feeling crappy and thinking that you're allowed to just, like, have an attitude with them, versus like having to have my on face on.
Right. You know, the people who love us unconditionally, if we're lucky, are our parents, right? And so I think that a lot of times this, like, parentifying thing happens in relationships where you think that you just get to, like, be shitty and be, like, nasty, because that's people who love you unconditionally will just love you right through it. And like, no, that's really, it's not even that people won't do that, because of course it happens. It happens, and it's like, it's something that is going to happen, and sometimes it needs to happen. But when I can, I do want to be the best person I can possibly be. And I do want to make sure that my partner knows that they're respected.
Right.
Yeah.
And that I'm not trying to treat you like shit just because you're the person that I think is never going to go away.
Right. Yes. Because I think we do that with our parents, with our siblings, with the people who we love the most. And that's just not an acceptable thing to do in a relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jay and I do get in arguments. I think a lot of people really think, like,
you either do or you don't.
Yeah. Yeah, and we do. I think that it would be unhealthy if we didn't. Right. We do, and we get in arguments about heavy shit too. Like,
and then we get in them again about the same heavy shit.
About the same shit over and over and over again. Things that nobody wants to talk about, and you just have to keep fucking powering through. It is what it is.
It is what it is. That's life.
Yeah. So someone asked, who deals with the pets in the middle of the night, which is such a great question, because Jay just accused me of pretending to sleep.
I don't know what it is about my brain, but, like, literally, probably being a Scorpio, I know all of the manipulative things to get my needs met and to not, like, have to do things. And I think she does them. And I'm like, are you just doing this because you are trying to get out of doing this thing? And she's like, what are you talking about?
Like,
that's so much effort and planning that I'm not doing.
Yeah, also, I'm just one of those people who would be like, no, I'm not letting the dogs out, you go
She
fucking
literally
do it.
feels so comfortable just saying, no, I'm not doing that. And I don't. But anyway, yes, I am the take care of the dogs, the cat, feed them when Petty barks at something in the yard in the middle of the night. I have to get up and go let her out. And I get grouchy about it, but it's more like I'm mostly just grouchy that I'm being woken up in the middle of the night, and it's not really at her.
I don't wake up. Jay's convinced that I wake up and I just, like, lay there like...
No, I feel like you just, like, keep sleeping. You're like, whatever.
If I, like, faintly hear something, I'm like, oh, guess we're gonna die. And I just, like, go back to bed. And Jay immediately wakes up, and Jay's like...
But at the same time, the funny thing is, like, I bitch about being the person that takes care of the animals, but the other day, like, Carissa offered to get the dog's bones, and I literally I was cooking, and I could not keep cooking. I had to go watch, because I wanted to see their cute little faces when she gives them the bone, and they're like, so excited about it.
She was like, wait, don't do it yet.
It's ridiculous. So I enjoy it. It's just, nobody likes waking up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, waking up in the middle of the night sucks. But also, our dogs are really great about sleeping in their crates. 2 more questions, and then I think we should probably close it up.
Sure.
This next one is a little bit more intimate. Ways to make sex more accessible.
Okay.
I hope this isn't too personal. If you're either of our mothers, here's where you quit watching.
Just to X out.
The best way to make sex more accessible is to just ask your partner if they're comfortable. And then work through whatever your internalized bullshit is about having to adjust.
Right.
I will be the first to admit, when Jay and I first started having sex, I think both of us cried more than we thought we would. There were several times where, and that never, I mean, we really don't cry during sex anymore.
No, we got it down like a science.
Yeah, we get this shit done. But I think like especially when we first moved in together, and we were kind of like coming out of the wild sex phase, like where we were just having sex everywhere. Yeah, we really had to have some good cries, and talk about like what made us feel vulnerable about certain things and what didn't make us feel good about certain things.
And what did make us feel really good and what we liked. Like, I think that's important too, is we don't give enough time or attention to the things that are working, that we love, and we don't talk about them with our partners a lot. Our partners, for the most part, I think want to make it enjoyable for each other. So how do you know if you don't talk about it?
Right. And like the other day, Jay came to me and was like, hey, is there anything like you feel like we're missing, or like do you want to right? And I was like, what do you mean I orgasm every time? This is great. Like I was like, oh, what are you talking about, right? But then like I thought about it and I was like, okay, this is what's really working for me, and this is something that I would like added in, or this is something that maybe we used to do that maybe I'd like to try again, or something like that. And just really feeling like you check your ego at the door, and feeling like you can hear things.
Which is a hard one for me.
You do pretty good.
I do good with this now, I think. Yeah. At first, I feel like we put so much of our worth into, maybe not everyone, but I put a lot of worth into being desirable sexually, like being like a good performer,
right?
And like feeling like that's what makes me worth being dated,
right?
Feeling like people want me because I'm good in bed,
right?
Which is like I don't even do anything that fancy, y'all. But I think like taking away that has been really helpful to me too. Is just like thinking about our sex as a its own thing, and like how to make that enjoyable and exciting for the both of us, and just taking away any shame and fear about what it means if somebody's like, if Chris is saying she wants me to change something or do something different, or she wants to try something, taking away that fear that it means something about me as a person, rather than just it's fucking science,
right?
We got it down to a science. We know what we like, we're finding what we don't like, we talk about it.
Yeah, and when we want to change it up, we'll change it up, and it's not it's not that heavy, and when it is heavy, it's okay if it's heavy.
Yeah. When we talk about sex between us as fat people, I feel like it's a little bit different because we're also queer, so there's a lot of different stuff going on there. And when people talk about accessibility, I feel a little bit bad that we can't speak about accessibility as if we were having sex involving a penis. Right. We have sex in a different way, physically, positioning wise, than people. So I feel like
one of the things that I love to do is Jay literally sits like this
upright
on the bed, sits upright, and I lay with my on my back with
her legs go here,
with everything. So Jay has a full view. So that's not necessarily something that if you wanted to have penetrative sex with someone who had a penis and a vagina, not something you would necessarily do. But so it's a little different for us, but I mean,
it all comes down to communication, really.
Right. Our dear friend Maggie asked, what's one small thing the other person does that makes you feel loved? We'll end with this one.
That's cute.
Yeah. Just this morning, I told Jay that I love when they brush my hair out of my face so that they can kiss me, and when they
just softly
brush my hair and stuff.
I mean, it does make me feel emotionally loved when you do something flirty with. Is that bad?
Jay's favorite thing in the whole world is when I'm sitting on the couch. I always sit this with this leg up, and Jay loves when I go, ooh.
I can't believe you just did it.
He loves when I look over at them and I go, baby, ooh, 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 ooh.
I go, yes, baby, bounce. Well, like, things like that where you're, like, just being playful with me and, like, you know that I'm, like, super attracted to you and that you, like, want to get a little rise out of me.
Yeah.
Makes me feel like
You like
you
being-
appreciate that I feel that way about you.
Yeah, you
makes
like
me
being
happy.
flirted with.
Yeah.
I
do.
yeah. I mean, I think that that's very cute. Jay will do anything for me if I flirt with them.
Yeah. Would you get me a water?
Okay, you guys. Thank you for joining us. Sorry about the crying. You know what? I'm not sorry about the crying. It's okay.
It's okay.
I can cry.
Yeah.
I am up for talking more about this kind of thing, maybe in a separate video, but I find that it is easier for me to talk about that kind of stuff in snippets instead of just being emotional for an entire 30-minute video or something. So there's that. You can find Jay over at youtube.com/comfyfat. You can also find Jay on Instagram at comfyfattravels and on the web at comfyfat.com. If you like this video, please make sure you give it a big thumbs up. If you are not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. If you are already subscribed, make sure you hit the notification bell because I am making videos. Again,
Video making queen.
video making. Every week we're putting up a video. Don't know what it's about yet. Haven't figured that out, but there's gonna be a video every week. Okay, until next time, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you then. Bye.
I almost said hearts and rainbows. Hearts and rainbows.
I'll kill you.